All right.
Hello and welcome yet again to another amazing episode of Adventures in Entrepreneurship. I am your host, Jared. This is Captain Clay. And today we are going to be talking about the importance of acting now. And here, the theme at Make Your Life Epic is the time is never just right.
Oh, yeah.
So you must act now. And Clay, you actually have some wisdom in this area. When you got started and everything that you did, you had quite a bit going on.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, when I started the DJ business, I was in college, and for everybody who's ever been to college knows, you spend your time studying, and then you've got to go to all your classes, and then you've got to maybe have a job on the side. So you've got a lot of things going on. And in my case, I was trying to kind of pay the way through college by putting on dance parties. We would charge $5 per head for the homies that knew me or didn't know me to go to these dance parties at the Marriott, where we kept it very hot. And it was $5, and basically you come in, and it was this big fun dance party. And so we had to pull about 400 people a semester for me to afford making the student loan payments and all that kind of stuff. So that's how I went through college.
Wow. Wow. Now, in chapter 6 of your book, you talk about how your best friend was killed, you got married, and kicked out of college all in the same year.
Yeah. Well, what happened was the DJ business was booming, and I thought it would be a good strategic idea to ask my best friend to sleep on the floor of the dorm room so he can make more room for the equipment. And so, he was like, no. And so I went ahead and thought I could maybe bribe him with maybe buying him jerseys from time to time, like sports teams jerseys. Maybe sometime buying him a lot of gas. Things that college people value. And so anyway, that was kind of our move. So we actually got rid of all the mattresses. We put them up on the wall to kind of soundproof our house there. And we had sheets, various things like this up everywhere to soundproof and to make things work. And then we had the credit card terminal hooked up, and just all these crazy things are going on. And basically, I would work the same shift I do now, but I had a roommate. So it was kind of a deal with the roommates. I went through 3 roommates in about 2 semesters, I think.
Oh, man.
And so anyway, Mark ends up being my roommate. We've been best friends, and he ended up moving out, probably because he hated me. But he moved out, or was in the process of moving out, when he ended up getting killed by a car. He got in a car accident. And so Mark died, and as a college student, you're kind of like just finding your foundation. So it really rocked me. And then right about that time, Buddy and I wrote a parody about Richard Roberts, the Oral Roberts University former president. Slick back hair, looking good. That's the sound for slick back hair. And so anyway, his hair was incredible, and we wrote a parody about him, and he didn't think it was very incredible. And it came out later that most of the song was true. But anyway, I got asked to leave the university. And so I got thrown out of college. My best friend gets killed. And I was engaged at the time. So all those things happened at the same time. And if you would have put your finger on a year and go, hey, this would be the best year to start a company, that would have been the exact wrong year. But at the same time, that's when we did it. So the moral of the story is that the time's never going to be just right. Some of you watching this are going to have you going through stress at home. Some of you have got a sickness or an illness. Some of you are getting married soon, that kind of thing. So it's really the time's never right. You can't just wait till you feel good. You just got to do it.
Just go for it. Yeah. So, and in the book, you talk about the significance of a $300 mixer, the $75 trussing, and a $600 amp, and the other items that you list in this book. What is the significance of that? Talk about that a little bit.
Well, I have these man law books where I write all my notes in, and basically I wrote down that I needed to get a $300 mixer, $75 trussing, $600 amp. I have these items listed out. And each week I would earn just enough money to buy one item, right? Cross it off the list. And so I kind of lived item by item. So like this week, if I was 12 years ago, being in college, and I was going, gonna get an amp this week, gonna get an amp, baby. And the whole week was, I worked at Applebee's and West Telecommunications, and I went to college, and I worked at Target, and all these terrible jobs. And basically every hour I'm like, that's 1/60th of an amp. And that's how I did it. So I worked at Tax and Accounting Software Corporation. Good company. Got sold to Intuit, the good folks at Intuit. But I just was sitting there, making hourly and thinking, 40 more of these hours, and I got myself an amp. You know, and that's how I did it. So I think it's important if you're watching this, though, to break your goals down into something like that. I mean, if you're trying to buy a $75 trussing for your lights, and it's $75 to do it, and you make $7.50 an hour, 10 hours, baby, after taxes, 14 hours, baby. But that's basically how we lived at that time, was just, item to item. And that's what kept me motivated. I wasn't motivated by anything big, it was just a short term getting that equipment.
So you just broke down your big goals into smaller goals, and even though the time wasn't necessarily right then, you used that as a trajectory to keep you moving, keep you going.
Yeah, and like right now we got this big goal. We're growing quite a bit. We got different partnerships we're forming up, and some cool stuff's happening. But right now I'm focused on getting the concrete stained. Just making sure the concrete gets stained. It looks good. There's this little that's and it's normally I'm all about sound effects. But the concrete should be level, and it's not. And so we got to make sure the concrete gets leveled, and I got to make sure it gets stained, and I got to make sure we have people scheduled to move. So that's what I'm focused on this week is getting the concrete leveled, getting the stuff moved, and then there's other minor goals along the way. But really, I mean, that's the fun thing about entrepreneurship is every week you've got a new goal you're working on. So it's good stuff. Did you invite everybody to your wedding reception?
I did not, nor am I going to invite.
For those of you watching this that aren't maybe familiar with where his wedding reception is or when to be there, we're not going to tell you until next time.
So, okay, well, we've talked about how now is the time. Just start now. Do not wait. What are some closing thoughts that you can leave with those out there that are wanting to start something right now and have thought, man, I've got to have everything just right before I start?
I met this guy a few years ago that was just getting into some education, and we're getting into the education industry, our education field. He'd been working at Starbucks, and he talked about how he wanted to do this or wanted to do that, but he had to finish this degree and he had to finish that and do these things. Well, I found out from his mom, I guess he ends up getting promoted to be the head guru of this school that's opening up in Canada after winning a big award where he got flown out to China to receive this big honor and this big award. And in the last 3 years, his career has gone like this. And the previous 10 years, it had been like this. And the only difference is, after we met, I think we met at Panera Bread, he left by knowing specifically what he wanted to do. He knew he had to start right now. He knew he had to make an action plan. And he just committed to taking action. And that's the biggest thing right now. If you're watching this, you're at home, just commit to take action. Every single day, knock out one step on your to-do list. 2 steps, Knock that stuff out. I've got 5 kids. I'm trying to raise them all to be non-heathen, barbarian people. And my daughter's not going to learn the piano in one day. She's not going to just get it. But if I can just get her to lessons every week, my wife, I can just get her to lessons every week, practice a little bit every night, do the flashcards with my son to teach him the letter V, which he's struggling with right now, and bribe him with a snare drum if he gets the letter V, which he got. But that's the kind of thing that you want to do, is just break your big goals. You want to have a great family? Break it into daily tasks. What do you need to do? Want to have a great business? What are the daily things you need to do? And if you can do that, I promise you'll be super successful, or at least highly motivated and prolifically unsuccessful.
Well, there you have it. There you have it. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, post those on our Facebook wall or on our YouTube channel. As always, you can email Clay directly at clay@makeyourlifeepic.com. Clay, anything else you'd like to add today?
Starting this week, we're not going to talk about Jared's mother being available to take complaints anymore. So this will be the final time. If you do have a complaint, email Jared's mother directly at his website. Jared is the man, but his mom is really upset. He gives out herinformation.com.
That's not a real website. But we'll see you next time.